The most unbelievable things Lewis Hamilton owns are strapped to his wrist. So stick around, because the most expensive one isn't the one you think. The first and foremost addition in Lewis Hamilton's watch collection is the IWC Schaffhausen Ingenieur. Lewis was spotted wearing this watch at the Monaco Grand Prix. When he first joined forces with IWC Schaffhausen, it wasn't just another brand deal, it was the birth of a legacy between a speed legend and a brand obsessed with precision. The Ingenieur Chronograph edition, Lewis Hamilton, became the mechanical symbol of that bond. Designed in direct collaboration with Hamilton himself, this timepiece fused the spirit of Formula One technology with the sophistication of Swiss craftsmanship. Every element had a purpose, from its carbon fibre dial, reminiscent of a race car's cockpit, to the titanium case that felt as light as Hamilton's Mercedes on the straight. With chronograph pushers that felt like throttle paddles and crown protection inspired by pit lane machinery, it's not hard to imagine why Hamilton wore it so proudly. And in those early Mercedes years, it symbolised more than success. It represented Lewis's transformation from racer to brand icon. But his next watch is a bold statement that redefined what a pilot's timepiece could be. After mastering speed on the track, Lewis Hamilton started mastering style off it. That's where the IWC Big Pilot's Watch Perpetual Calendar Lewis Hamilton edition enters, which is a bold collaboration that broke the mould of what a pilot's watch could look like. Lewis was photographed wearing this masterpiece at the F1 Miami in May 2023. Gone were the traditional black and silver tones. Instead, Hamilton chose a deep Bordeaux dial that glowed under the light like a Formula One car's paint job at dusk. The gold-plated hands, set in a black zirconium oxide ceramic case, scream luxury with purpose. Limited to just 100 pieces and priced at $49,999, this isn't a watch for everyone. It's for the few who understand that time and taste both demand courage. Wearing it wasn't about keeping track of hours, it was about keeping track of eras. And as his fashion sense started turning heads around the world, the Big Pilot became more than a collaboration, it became his statement piece. But Hamilton wasn't done yet. After this explosion of style, he went for something quiet, something that spoke of depth and reflection. When ultimate precision becomes art, that's where the IWC Portugieser Constant Force Tourbillon comes. After years of dominance, pressure and headlines, Hamilton started to reflect not on trophies but on time itself. That's where the IWC Portugieser Constant Force Tourbillon entered the story. For the first time, Lewis wore this masterpiece to a film release event last year. Unlike the bold and brash designs that mirrored his energy on the track, this one was elegant, serene, and almost philosophical. Crafted in platinum, the watch embodied everything that makes horology an art. The Constant Force Tourbillon ensures that time flows evenly, unaffected by tension, much like Hamilton himself learning to balance chaos and calm. The intricate mechanics represented the precision he'd spent his whole career perfecting, while the understated design showed a man no longer needing to shout success, he could whisper it. It was the kind of piece you'd wear not to be noticed, but to remind yourself of how far you've come. But just as Hamilton embraced this new bold phase, another part of him began to shine through his choices. This isn't just a timepiece, it's a statement carved in Ceratanium and a vision. By the time the world entered the era of social change, Lewis Hamilton wasn't just a driver, he was a voice. His platform had become a stage for justice, equality and courage. During that period, one of the watches that truly resonated with his mission was the IWC Big Pilot's Black Lives Matter edition, made of Ceratanium, a cutting-edge hybrid of ceramic and titanium. Its matte black stealth design wasn't made to draw attention, it was made to make a point. Cherry on top, this watch is very special for Hamilton, and he wore it on a number of occasions. Hamilton used fashion, jewellery, and yes, watches to tell his story. Wearing a blacked out IWC wasn't a coincidence. It reminded everyone that time waits for no movement, so you better stand for something before it runs out. With this piece, Hamilton's collection became more than a display of wealth, it became a gallery of meaning. But his taste for refinement grew deeper, pulling him toward the timeless prestige of one of the world's most coveted names, Patek Philippe. The first time Hamilton stepped out wearing the Patek Philippe Nautilus Chronograph 59801R001, the world noticed. Gone were the experimental materials and dark tones. In their place, glowing rose gold and a black gradient dial that exuded quiet power. This wasn't a sponsor piece, it was pure collector energy. Retailing with different prices, its one piece cost around $550,000, which proves that Hamilton's taste had reached a new level. The kind of level where exclusivity wasn't just a perk, it was the standard. The watch, with its distinctive horizontal embossing, blended sportiness and refinement in a way only Patek Philippe could. And for Hamilton, it symbolised freedom. The freedom to choose a watch not for branding but for beauty. It reflected the stage of his life where he no longer needed to prove his success. He could simply wear it. This was Hamilton stepping into his own as a man of luxury, not just a man of speed. Each polished surface of that Nautilus seemed to mirror the gleam of his career. Hard-won, radiant and timeless. Yes, these watches show Hamilton's class and choice, but it's not over yet. Stick with us to watch more interesting videos and don't forget to subscribe. Now, as his appreciation for Patek grew, he wasn't content with just elegance, he wanted complexity and craftsmanship. After the rose gold Nautilus came one of Hamilton's most exquisite choices, the Patek Philippe Nautilus 5740-1G. Crafted from white gold and housing a perpetual calendar, this masterpiece represented the height of technical artistry. At just 8.42mm thick, it was the thinnest perpetual calendar in Patek's lineup and one of the most discreet expressions of wealth you'll ever see. And it cost a whopping $480,000. The blue dial shimmered like Monaco's coastline under the sun, while its perfectly aligned moon phase and calendar subdials reflected Patek's unmatched precision. When Hamilton wore this, it wasn't about flash or status anymore. It was about maturity, about owning time rather than chasing it. This was the piece of man who had conquered the sport, changed culture, and now mastering the art of restraint. Each function, from day to leap year display, told a story of discipline and patience, the same virtues that define a champion. The 5740-1G wasn't a loud declaration of success, it was a whisper of mastery. And just as he embraced this quiet sophistication, Hamilton was about to take another daring leap from Swiss tradition to futuristic engineering. That's where Richard Mille entered the list. When Lewis Hamilton made his move toward Ferrari, it wasn't just a change of team, it was a change of identity. The Richard Mille RM6702 Italy edition marked the start of that transformation. Built from carbon TPT, a high-tech material weighing barely 33 grams, it's one of the lightest automatic watches ever made, and its price is $394,500. Designed for athletes, the RM6702 hugs the wrist so perfectly that it feels like part of the body, ideal for someone who lives at 300 km per hour. The strap alone can stretch and flex like a driver's glove, enduring intense motion and sweat without breaking a beat. Wearing it, Hamilton looked every bit the modern gladiator, sleek, fearless, unstoppable. This watch shouted innovation, but in Richard Mille's language, ultra light, ultra luxury, ultra rare. It wasn't about showing off, it was about performance art. And as Hamilton's fashion sense collided with his competitive edge, the RM6702 stood as proof that even at the top, he was still evolving. But evolution for Hamilton doesn't stop, it accelerates, which brings us to a watch that's not just lightweight, but luminous in brilliance. The RM7402 isn't just a watch, it's an event on your wrist. Made from gold carbon TPT, this Richard Mille masterpiece costs around a shocking $600,000 and combines futuristic materials with hand-assembled perfection. Hamilton has been spotted wearing different versions, from white case to black case variants. It's the same watch he wore during his pre-season testing in Bahrain. The automatic tourbillon movement beats visibly behind its transparent case, almost like a race engine under glass. This is Hamilton's personality crystallized, daring, technical, and glamorous all at once. It's the kind of watch that doesn't just keep time, it commands attention. The RM7402 demonstrates his growing relationship with Richard Mille, a brand that mirrors his own ethos: never compromise, never conform, and always perform at the highest level. The combination of gold, carbon, and advanced mechanics gives it an aura of controlled chaos, just like Hamilton on race day. And as his confidence continued to surge both on and off the track, his next watch is something out of this world, and you're not going to believe how much it costs. It's like the crown jewel of Hamilton's collection. It's none other than the Richard Mille RM4301 Ferrari Tourbillon split-second chronograph. One of only 75 pieces ever produced, this timepiece costs $1.5 million and represents the pinnacle of horological collaboration. With a titanium baseplate, tourbillon cage and a 12-part sapphire crystal construction, the RM4301 looks like a piece of Formula One machinery shrunk to fit your wrist. Every part of it screams Ferrari, from the scarlet detailing to the engraved Cavallino Rampante emblem. When Hamilton wore this ahead of the Spanish GP, fans went wild. It wasn't just a luxury statement, it was symbolic. He was stepping into a Ferrari, and here was a watch that perfectly bridged that world. This isn't a watch you wear, it's a watch you command. But even as Hamilton reached the peak of luxury, his connection to IWC hadn't disappeared, although their collaboration ceased to continue. And that's it. In the end, Lewis Hamilton's watch collection isn't just about luxury or style, it's a timeline of his passion for elegance. From bold racing-inspired IWCs to million-dollar Richard Milles, every watch tells a chapter of speed, success and class. Besides the spectacle of Hamilton's luxury timepieces to the grit of Rolex's survival story, our next video focuses on the 1970s, the decade that almost destroyed Rolex. So, buckle up fans, this is Rolex's darkest decade, and it's going to be a shocking one.